Welcome back to KTN Prime. Now, Kenya has 137,000 kilograms of ivory and 1,519 kilograms of rhino horns in stock. That is according to the country's first ever inventory of stockpiles held by the Kenya Wildlife Service as court exhibits or those seized and held under police custody at the port of Mombasa. And as Rita Tinina reports, the country's stockpile, which is worth over 700 million shillings, is expected to be destroyed by the end of this year.
In 1989, then President Daniel Moi set on fire 12 tons of ivory in a historic and symbolic step in the fight against poaching. 22 years later, then President Mwai Kibaki destroyed 5 tons of non-Kenyan ivory. And in March this year, President Uhuru Kenyatta did what appears to be on every Kenyan president's to-do list. He set ablaze 15 tons of ivory. But all this while, and amid a spirited anti-poaching campaign, the country has never known its total ivory and rhino horn stockpile. Well, up until now. On the 21st of July, Kenya launched her first ever stockpile inventory, a 30 million shilling exercise, which took 45 days to complete.
We were able to get access to containers that are held largely under the protection of the police or the Kenya Ports Authority in different parts of Mombasa, and police cells and things of this kind.
The figures may be a pointer to the magnitude of the poaching crisis and the illegal trade in ivory. Kenya has 137,679 kilograms of ivory and 1,519 kilograms of rhino horns in stock.
I would have been exceedingly concerned if we had less ivory than we believed we had. And we believed we had about 110 tons, and we actually have 137.
With a kilogram of ivory fetching $2,000 on the black market and up to $5,000 by the time it gets to Asia, according to East Africa investigations, Kenya's ivory stockpile is worth close to 700 million shillings. Some of the ivory has been in stock for over 25 years. But from now on, the country will know its stocks every year. That is if Kenya abides by the Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species CITES requirement to have state parties maintain an inventory of government-held stockpiles and give a report to the CITES Secretariat before the 28th of February every year. The government says plans to destroy all the ivory and rhino horn stockpiles by the end of the year are still on course, following the inventory, which was not just about numbers.
Samples were taken from representative elephant ivory stocks and all rhino horns for DNA profiling and analysis to create a DNA reference library.
The stockpile inventory, complete with DNA profiling, is the first one of its kind in the region, and authorities say it is expected to further boost the war against poaching. But with fears of leakage of ivory and rhino horns from KWS stocks, some conservationists are not patting KWS on the back for a job well done just yet, with questions over the independent validation of the process and specifics on the amount of ivory and rhino horns which were recovered from animals which died of natural causes, what portion was from poaching, and what percentage was recovered in transit. Rita Tinina, KTN News, at the KWS headquarters.